As a designer, you know clients want it all. A stunning site that runs their business and scales with their success. But tight deadlines shouldn't mean compromising your vision. Wix Studio is built for designers like you. Plan sites in seconds with AI-powered site mapping. Then design, starting in Figma or in the Wix Studio editor with precise layout tools. Then bring your vision to life with no-code animations, AI tools, and one-click responsive design. Design smoother and deliver sooner. Go to wixstudio.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Please give yourself grace. What we do is hard enough. Solving problems is hard enough. Turning your problem solving into money is hard enough. Video's hard. Anything worth doing we know is hard. So give yourself some grace. There's enough wolves out there that'll, pick at your videos, and there's enough trolls that'll bang on their keyboards. So we don't need to be our own wolf or troll, so give yourself grace.
Step into the world of success with Your Brand Amplified, the ultimate podcast designed to unravel the intricacies of thriving businesses. I'm your host, Annika Jackson, and I'm on a mission to uncover the stories, strategies, and secrets that have propelled entrepreneurs and business leaders to success. Dan Bennett of Hot Sauce Video, you have so many different components to your story, and ones that I think a lot of people resonate with. The pivot point, right? The realizing that what you're doing is just not fulfilling you anymore, and figuring out how to use your skill set to help others in new ways. And Hot Sauce Video is such an amazing name for a company. It really grabs attention, and your website is phenomenal as well. So thank you for being on Your Brand Amplified.
Yeah, thank you for a warm introduction and the kind words. We try very hard. So it's nice when we get a little attaboy here and there. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, and there are, a lot of people in this space who want to help people produce good content or great content. And there are different price points. And you don't really know who to trust. And you don't know who's been at it for their career and really understands the intricacies and the ins and outs. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the work that you were doing before. What compelled you to be interested in this format, in this field, and then take us through that journey?
Absolutely. So in the Wayback Machine, we'll go back to 2015. I was building a video production company. I had been part of some other small companies and then struck out on my own. And I was doing what anyone who's ever been in any kind of production will resonate with. You start with small businesses, you try and get bigger businesses, you look at maybe colleges and corporations, then maybe government contracting. If you're super creative, you might look at filmmaking and that side of the video process and production process. For me, it was the video journey. And anytime I meet anyone in video, we can share war stories for hours because a lot of us take very similar journeys. And so I'm originally from Flint, Michigan. Not a lot of opportunity there, a lot of poverty, tough to start and run a business of any sort of size. And I kept my offices downtown there. So I'd fly all over the country doing work for these big businesses that really didn't need any more money, the Harley Davidsons and the Camaros and stuff like that of the world. A lot of great stories. It was fun. The checks always cleared, so that's nice. But I would always come home, and in my office looking through the glass, I could see all of my contemporaries around me, and none of them could afford me. And I hated that, knowing that I couldn't help with video because they couldn't afford my day rates. So in 2017, I was moving from behind the camera to in front of it for my own company. I was seeing people create content. I was watching the uprise of a lot of video and content. I'm like, well, obviously I know how to make video for other people. Maybe I can make it for myself. And very quickly I realized that having filmmaking knowledge made that journey very easy for me. And I realized how hard it is for others. And so I was wondering to myself, I wonder if I could take the structure and the bones of making a great video and get rid of the fluff and the theory and the jargon of filmmaking and help someone without making them feel like they had to become a videographer or become a filmmaker. And so we put all those elements together And I built what I used to lovingly call the IV cart. And it was just a Sentry stand on wheels with mounted on it a small camera, small mic, and a light. And I could go all around all 7 floors of my building and film anywhere at a moment's notice. And everyone around me would see that. What are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm filming content. Just got bored, so I want to go to a different floor with a different background. And other people were like, man, that seems easy enough. Like, could you help me? And like, actually, we're looking into trying to figure out how to do that. So it kind of started there. And then we landed our first full client where we drop shipped equipment in. We went to their house. We helped them set up their home studio so they could pretty much just hit a couple switches and be ready to go. And it worked.
Nice.
And I got really excited. And so from 2017 to 2020, we're really focused on getting away from big corporate and government contracting stuff and more towards people who could afford this one-time kind of effort and then create videos for a long, long time after. 2020, we kind of all know what happened there. Like many, many people, and I never discount that, we lost everything and had to kind of start over. And so in that starting over, I was like, well, we helped a lot of people. I wonder if we can still help them, but remotely, since we're really not allowed to go anywhere. And some of the first emails that kind of came back when I was sending out emails saying, hey, I don't know if it's possible, but we might still be able to help people with video. Let's see. It was entrepreneurs who were still able to do what they were doing previously before the pandemic. And now they're like, hey, I coach executives on how to perform better, and they're still hiring me, but I'm not allowed to go in the building. So I have to do it via Zoom, and my laptop is terrible. Like, can you help me? And so for the first time in my career, I feel like I was ahead of the curve a little bit, and we were ready for this. So I helped my first 2 or 3 clients remotely drop ship in all the equipment, give them tutorials on how to roughly set things up, and then look through that new camera on the next call and help them fine tune everything. So they didn't have to learn how to be videographers. They could just get everything set up with my help. And then that worked. So we've never looked back. Since 2020, it's been full focus on helping people who film themselves.
And I was wondering about that because I saw the different things that you do on your website and saw of course, the fuzzy image. We know that when we're working on our laptops, it might not always be the highest quality. And so I was wondering about that. So the fact that people are investing in, you're able to drop ship them equipment that they'll be able to easily understand with your guidance, but get high quality video every time. It's really fantastic.
It's so exciting because it's a scary thing. I've been doing this over 16 years. I still have days I wake up and I'm like, I'm really not feeling like being on camera today. And I have my own processes. We eat our own dog food around here. I use my own tools, follow my own methods. And some days it's a little easier than others to jump on camera. So that's always on my mind is we are doing this thing that's kind of scary, capturing our likeness and putting it out there to the world oftentimes. And so how can we help people take that journey a little bit more comfortably? And part of the fun and magic of using a DSLR camera, a digital camera, as a webcam essentially, is when they first see themselves with a good mic and a good camera, and they get a little twinkle of like, well, I don't hate it. I mean, it's not that bad, and I can see them give themselves permission to be great on camera because they're already great in real life. And now the quality of the equipment kind of matches what they're like in real life, and they get a little spark. And I'm like, hold on to that spark because it's still hard work, but it can be fun, once you get some reps in. So I love it.
So what does that look like today? Because you do that aspect, the filming, then you also have editing, and tell us a little bit about the different areas that you found most interesting and most useful for your clients.
Definitely. And the way you just put it is so perfect. I might steal that. It's very linear on paper. We have 3 products and that's it. The first is Hot Sauce Studios, and we've been talking about that a little bit. We interview you. We look at your exact space. We have you tour your space with your smartphone. Tell us what you love about it, what you hate, what can move and what has to stay. And then also give us the specifications of your computer so we don't recommend any equipment that needs more horsepower than you have. And also a list of any equipment you might already own, even if you're not using it. And asterisk sidebar, I love when we get to help people with buyer's remorse because they bought stuff but didn't know how to use it. So it's in the closet and we get to help them pull it back out.
Nice.
And then we have some tutorial videos for initial setup. We do a very simplistic top-down schematic of your space to show you roughly where to put things. And as long as you can take that camera and that cable and plug it into your computer, the next time we meet, I can look through that new camera and then help you with framing and background and color and all the stuff that I don't want to overwhelm people with tutorials on. And so pretty quickly, within a couple hours, an initial 1 hour call and a secondary 1 hour call, we can have someone looking and sounding pretty great. And most people, I say, if you've ever put together some IKEA furniture, you can do this. So yeah, it's not that bad. Second is hot sauce strategy. So if you already look and sound good, you've kind of figured that part out. Many people we work with have begrudgingly DIY'd themselves through watching YouTube videos and getting equipment and figuring it out themselves. And to them, I salute, because it's not an easy journey. They've already got that figured out. We have strategy help. And internally inside Hot Sauce Strategy, we call it the solar system methodology, which is just a fun kind of metaphoric way to say hub and spoke. So we really help them hone in on their big idea that they don't deviate from, and then create content around that makes sense. So every time they create video, they're doing it on purpose instead of, it's an idea, it's kind of cool, I'm going to make it, and hopefully people watch. And then we bump into a lot of people that got that figured out too. So they look and sound good already. They've already gotten a return on investment with videos that they put out for a myriad of reasons, from YouTube channels that are monetized to coursework and video creation there. And we have a monthly subscription-based editing. So if you already look and sound good and you already know what you're doing, but now you're overwhelmed by the post-production part of video and how much time that takes, we can take that off your plate. And we just run a pretty simple conveyor belt. So you can stack up all the videos you want. One by one, we do them. As soon as they're approved, we grab the next one. And we have a team of highly talented North American editors that are all completely bought into our vision and how we're helping people with editing. And on paper, like I said, it's really linear. It's look and sound good, have a good strategy, now have someone edit to get your time back. But people fall into those 3 buckets from 1,000 different directions. So that's when it gets interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I want to step back a little bit because, as you mentioned, you were flying all over the country, working for big clients, big paychecks, checks that cleared immediately. You had this heart for other entrepreneurs like yourself. What did that look like to say, okay, we're going to completely shift our strategy. We're going to be able to charge less. But, I'm just thinking about like the sheer scale of how many clients would you have to replace those big clients and the work that would be involved in that?
That's an excellent question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that, but man, do I have an answer. So I'm an optimistic realist. I hope for the best, but I don't expect it. So I really approach business and life that way. It's just kind of how I'm built. And so as I was leaving that space, I knew what I was walking away from. So I would constantly remind myself of the realistic part of it, which was like all the headache, all the red tape. So in corporate, there's a lot of micromanagement. There's a lot of oversight. Oftentimes you're working with a marketing department of a large corporation. Sometimes they're nimble. Sometimes it's got to go through 3 yeses before you can get a yes. So I was reminding myself we're getting away from that. And if anyone who's listening or watching has ever done any kind of government contracting, you know how painful that is. Just getting a simple, tiny little $10,000 job in your own state can take 6 months. You can be told yes and no 10 times. Then when it finally happens, there's often super strict deadlines or you don't get paid. And it's an archaic system. So oftentimes they were making us like put our final videos on DVDs and send them those. And I'm like, we don't even have computers that burn to DVD anymore. What are you talking about? So those 2 things were, just quick examples of like, we're also leaving that behind. And working with smaller teams, creators, individuals, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, there's a lot more space to kind of work at speed and, get more done quicker. So that trade for big, long-lasting products that paid this much was 10 smaller projects without so much headache and red tape for roughly the same amount. And the better we got at what we did, the more it evened out as far as how much effort we had to put out to get to that same finish line. And that was always the goal after we kind of went smaller, was we just have to streamline this so well that it's simplistic for everyone and we can get across that finish line fast without cutting corners. So I think that's how I got through, looking at the stuff that was really tough and saying, well, we're also leaving that behind and that's okay. And then, we implemented some models that kind of leaned financing and stuff in our favor. And I should have done that 10 years ago. And a mix of those things really put us in a good position to be able to get good fast and then start looking for really good fits.
Well, and as your brand evolved and shifted, and then COVID happened and you had to come up with new ways to find clients, what was that like?
I don't know if I believe in luck, but I always say I got lucky. I had a decent network. And in August of 2020, Like I said, we had lost everything. I had a rental property. Everyone quit paying rent and you couldn't kick them out. I had a business conference done. Keynote speakers are coming. Tickets are already selling, all that stuff. So we had to refund tickets and shut that down. Business, I was very, very lucky because we were starting to shift towards that agency model already. So I was very lucky that kind of our monthly clients, because we started over every month with them, we didn't owe anyone any work and they didn't owe us any money. So we were very fortunate that even though it was terrifying to shut the whole thing down, we could sever all those relationships clean and no one was in a bad spot. And I'm still to this day thankful for that. We got a small PPP, kept our little team on for an extra 12 weeks and just went as hard as we could to try and conjure up new work. And it wasn't happening. So we finally exhausted that, let everyone go. And I went home, which was just a few miles from my office. So sat there trying to think of what was next. I looked over at my partner, Jax, and I was like, this makes no sense right now, but like, I need to get out of here. I need to just go clear my head somewhere or whatever, And without me knowing and using a credit card that she probably shouldn't have, she went and rented me a little pop-up trailer from this company called Outdoorsy, which is like Airbnb for trailers and RVs. And there was this young couple on there. They rent out their little pop-up trailer. She got it for me without telling me. And she's like, go to the woods, So back in Michigan, there's a lot of state land. You can go and camp and you don't have to pay money. I ended up getting lucky and a friend of mine had some space on a defunct campground that he had bought the land of. So I just disappeared into the Michigan wilderness and started, not trying to plan what was next, but just let my brain do whatever it wanted for 10 days. And part of that was like, you got a good network, reach out to them. Don't ask them for anything, but reach out to them. So I did. I got home. I reached out to about 33 different people and the response was 100%. And they were telling me like, it's so brave that you're telling us how you've lost everything and what you're doing. And I resonate with what you're saying because we're hurting over here. And you've given me inspiration to not let my business go quite yet because you're out trying to figure out what's next for you. And it was just this really beautiful thing. And if you do email marketing at all, 100% return is pretty incredible. So I was like, oh my gosh, everyone listened. I'm going to send out something else. And so just as a fun thought experiment and a way to also say thank you for all the kind words, I was like, hey, so if there's like this reporter going around and the reporter, she's like, hey, Dan Bennett, right? And puts a mic in your face and says, what would you say his superpower is? What would you say? And that was it. It was just a fun little thought experiment. And I got 12. I remember them all. I still have them all. I got 12 different responses from people that said very similar things along the lines of your voice matters, the way you sound, the way you move. When I worked with you, you helped me stay calm when I was getting jitters about camera, or when I watch your YouTube videos, it's soothing. And so even though I'm doing this scary thing, I'm not quite as scared anymore because I feel like you're there with me. All these different versions of your voice. It came up over and over. I never heard this in my life. So I was like, there's something here. And I'm kind of glad I asked this. I appreciate it. I was like, I'm glad this is happening because, I didn't grow up with people saying, I hate your voice, go away. But I never heard that it mattered in any way. And I was like, wow. So I'm like, well, let's leverage that, So I wrote continuously to this small group. And I was like, hey, I'm not looking for, any handouts or anything, but keep your ears to the ground because I'm trying to figure out what's next. And this is what we were doing. And I feel like there's still something there. And that's when some of the first, people came in like, I can still do what I'm doing, but I have to do it from home, but I look terrible on this laptop. Can you help me? And so it was, again, I don't know if I fully believe in luck, but it was kind of luck that series of events, when I was in a really bad spot and didn't feel like talking to anyone, I reached out and I got this warm response, which fired me up to continue reaching out, which led to work. And then it kind of dawned on me like a duh type moment of, oh yeah, we could still like ship from Amazon to their house. I don't have to be there. And if they're a little, tech savvy, they could probably set this up mostly on their own. And then I could just help them find, I think we could do this, and then I just went full tilt in September of 2020.
You're a professional web creator who needs a platform that works as hard as you do. Wix Studio is built for you, whether you're a designer, developer, or marketer ready to amplify your impact. Build intuitively with advanced design features and AI-powered tools. Manage your clients and projects efficiently from one workspace. Scale with dynamic systems and fully managed infrastructure. Create exceptional websites with hyper efficiency on Wix Studio.
Wow. And you haven't looked back since?
At all. Yeah, it was one of those things. I think everyone who's done anything for a long time has moments of like, it just worked, and you kind of shrug and you're thankful for it and you take full advantage of it.
Yeah. I resonate with that deeply. I wanted to ask about, I don't need exact pricing because I'm sure that it's variable also depending on what people are doing and how often. And you said you also have subscription models. But I know when I've talked to video teams like yourself, quite honestly, a lot of them do still shoot over your computer, Zoom, Riverside, whatever it might be, get a lot of short form content, and maybe focus more on some of the virality part than the production value and the things that you're putting intentionality. But I also know those companies, when I've spoken to people, they're high 5 to 6 figures and beyond, which would price a lot of small businesses out, especially when we're trying to grow, right? So how do you stay competitive with your pricing, but also make enough that you're showing who you are and be able to bring the skill set of you and your team to work every day?
Another great question. I really was trying to find a space in between. This is so generic, but it's so true. I was trying to find a space in between DIY, figure out everything on your own, buy some equipment, hate your life, but figure it out. And we do everything for you, and it costs too much for a lot of businesses. And every time I'm like, okay, if that's the scale, what's in the middle? I just kept coming back to the thing that's terrible about DIY is you don't know anyone you can ask questions. So what if I told you exactly what to buy, what you don't need, and then how to set it up, and then give you 6 months of ongoing support and education in our online community? Would that be worth something?
Nice.
And our pricing still to this day, I'm sure at some point, it'll change, but our pricing still to this day is $1,500 for House Studio. And then, of course, there's equipment charge. So I don't upcharge that stuff. I do source it locally and I get a little bit of an affiliate, fee from them, but it is the raw cost of those goods. And that can vary. But a lot of times we get me and the equipment, if someone has nothing at all, for, between $3,000 and $4,000. Now, that's nothing to sneeze at. So then I started thinking, okay, that's still a chunk of money. How do we start talking about it? How do we think about it? And that's when my brain says, this is no longer an expense, it's an investment. Now, a lot of marketers tell them it's an investment and blah, blah, blah. But this actually is, because unless you spill water on your stuff, this can last from 5 to 6 years, no problem at all. And the proof is, and I do this on purpose on this call right now, my camera's 9 years old. These lights are 6 years old. This mic is 5 years old. All of my newer, better stuff I only use for YouTube, and it's in a different part of the room. And I can still look and sound great with old equipment. So it's just kind of proof that this is possible no matter what. And your equipment can last a long, long time if you take good care of it. So I started looking at that middle more and more and more. Okay, it's an investment. It really is, because you can pay this one time, work with me a little bit, have ongoing support and education for 6 months, and then make 100,000 videos if you want to. Now you're not limited to interview with me. We'll cut you 10 short reels and 10 TikToks and you get that. Nothing wrong with that model. Good for them. But I'd rather empower the ones who are hungry to go make videos. So it's the whole, teach a man to fish type vibe.
Yeah, amazing. And then the other parts. So you can do the other things, and those are almost separate business entities.
Yeah, it does kind of model itself that way because not everyone needs everything we have. And that was another way to kind of keep things affordable across our product suite is you don't need all of this. If you create your own videos and you start getting an ROI, say your YouTube channel gets monetized or you get some sponsors or you record a video course and you sell a few of them and you got a little bit of revenue coming in. Now you can look at, okay, does it make sense to hand off the editing? Or does it make sense to fine tune this strategy so we can create more revenue and then maybe hand off post-production later or hire internally and have our own post-production team? So I broke up the products to hopefully give people kind of a journey to go on. That's why it's linear on paper. Again, like I said, they come from everywhere. So people are on different parts of the journey. But I wanted, if someone wanted to be able to go A to Z, and we've had 3 clients now over the last 5 years, go literally A to Z. Never made video, built a studio, started putting videos out, got some traction, worked with us on strategy, started getting a lot of traction, started making money, handed off their editing to us. And it was the most beautiful thing in the world because they knew we were there and we were the same company and people the whole time. So they could trust, and just grow. And I resolved long ago in my own life, professionally and personally, that, I want to leave a dent. I'm selfish. I want to make some kind of dent in the universe before I'm gone.
Mm.
And the only way that I know how to do that is to help 10,000 other people make dents, not me to make one big one myself. So I'm always focused on leveraging tools to help other people make dents to their audience. And maybe we were just a small part of it.
Yeah, I love that perspective. And that's one thing that's really striking me is your authenticity, the way that you have been so intentional about the creation and the pivots of your organization, how you treat your employees, but then also how you've approached going out and being vulnerable to others and then getting their input, because that's something, I also teach university, and that's something we talk a lot about in our classes when we're talking about content and what kind of content resonates and what kind of brands you want to work with and what kind of brands you want to be. And so I can see your likability scores, way up here. And it does feel like I'm talking to a friend, and you're, somebody who will really actually be there to help guide me through things.
Yeah. One of our sales approaches is we do free strategy calls. And my little saying that goes along with it is no gimmicks, no pressure, no sales, just strategy. And I want to make people feel comfortable knowing that they can show up and for 20 minutes, we're going to solve their tech problems or their story problems or their camera shyness problems to it as, whatever degree we can. And then they're going to leave, and I'm not going to try and sell them anything. And that's not to just give value and try and turn someone into a customer. It's to give value. So the next time they're on a call with someone who's like, video is so hard, they can be like, I know this Dan guy, And that's what we want. We want like an army of ambassadors as opposed to just like blindly asking, 100,000 people if they want to work with us. And it works really well. I always think of like in real life, like how do you get people to come to your birthday party? I'm just trying to do something that you might not have planned on doing, but it sounds kind of fun and there's some benefit for you too. It's not just about me. And if you come, you might look back and go, oh, that was a good decision. I'm always just trying to make it like that because I look at my own DMs every day and I get lambasted just like everyone else with 100 different, I don't know you and I'm going to pretend I know what you do and hire me. And it's just not my style.
Yeah. It's amazing that people still use those tactics.
Yes.
Truly. I wanted to ask, what have you done? I mean, because I know before we jumped on, we talked about you've been on some podcasts, you've had yours, your own platform, you do shoot YouTube content. What are some other ways that you've been able to market yourself? Have you had to spend any money on digital advertising?
We haven't done any ads. I'm not against them. It's just we've been working for a long time on what that looks like. And it looks like before this year's up, there might be that component existing. It's being built in the background right now, very slowly and intentionally. Obviously, word of mouth and referrals and affiliation are really powerful. And it's been a good chunk of the bread and butter of our business, but that's not by design. I know we need more than that to get to some of the levels we want to get to. So paid ad is coming, but it's not here yet. And I'm really trying to approach it as authentically as possible, just like everything else. So if someone does come into our world that way, they feel good about the fact that they ended up there. They don't feel pressured or tricked. So put that aside, even though that's a focus of ours, it's not an outward marketing tactic yet. We do try to polish the heck out of all those things I just mentioned, our affiliate programs, our ambassadorships, our network, our free strategy calls, and keeping track of those people, following up on them later. I'm sure people get annoyed by it, but if you download one of our free tools, you don't just get a thank you, you get a follow-up, you get, is it working for you? If the button didn't work, here's a direct download now, so you got it on your desktop now. Another email a couple of days later, like, hey, if you're using our script template and you're finding it useful and you make a video using it, let us know. We'll show your video to our 10,000 people because I love seeing people win. So even in those instances, we're doing extra marketing on top of the marketing to really show people that we care. And if they're hungry enough, we'll have their backs, as they do this video thing. So a lot of focus goes there, of course, into content. And content's kind of, I consider myself fortunate every day that me being on video is a commercial about the fact that I can help other people look and sound good on video. So I thrive in the meta-ness of the whole thing that we do.
Yeah.
So put out a lot of content and we take care when we make our content. But I know every time someone sees me show up and it looks and sounds good, it's just a representation of what's possible for them too. So I really am thoughtful there. Also, I don't create, sell, or promote anything. I don't use myself. So we eat our own dog food on every single level. And again, the cool thing is that's permitted by the fact that what we do is make video. So we can use the same tools and same techniques as we're teaching other people because we're doing this every day too. So that content resonates quite a bit. And one of my favorite things, and I just seem to like accidentally get invited to do this all the time. It probably should be more of a focus where we're trying to reach out and do this more, but at least 2-3 times a month, I'm invited into some community or some mastermind or something to do a workshop because video is important and people know it. So it's not hard for a leader of a community to be like, will you come in and talk about that for an hour, you know? And I love those so much because people are hungry. They're probably in a community used to showing up once a week and seeing some, you know, expert in their field talk about something cool that might help their business. And also I get to show up just like this. And they say, oh, okay, so you must know what you're talking about. And yeah, workshops and teaching is a really fun way that we get some extra revenue coming in just through helping out for free and then saying, you know where to find us and going from there. And since the rebrand to Hot Sauce Video, we're really trying to have a lot of fun. The previous brand wasn't anti-fun. It was just so kind of stagnant and boring that it didn't leave a lot of room for kind of my own personality and some of my team to, you know, be a little funky and a little cheeky and those sorts of things. So even with the rebrand, our marketing is yielding better results because, you know, I developed like a little pepper guy that's named Chip and he's like our little mascot. So I'm using him in our visuals and signing off like stay spicy. Instead, like just having some fun with our marketing, I think people really resonate with. And I see it infect them a little bit too, because they'll like comment on a LinkedIn post and be like, oh, this was a spicy post, or like, I rate this 3 peppers, or whatever, you know. And so they're having fun too. And I'm like, cool, because video's hard and I'm never going to deny that. So if we can have a little bit of fun while we're doing it, that's great. Nice. A very long answer to how are we marketing?
No, and that's a perfect segue because I was going to ask about the rebrand, why you chose the name Hot Sauce Video. So you started talking a little bit about that. So I'd love to dig into that a little more.
Yeah, it's so fun. So I had a YouTube channel. My podcast way back in the day was called The Antipreneur Show. Another story for another time, but that resonated with quite a few folks as well. And so I kind of just had that moniker around as, you could say, personal brand, but it wasn't by design. It was just kind of what I went by. And we had a channel that wasn't really doing what we wanted, and that kind of went by the wayside. And I'm like, I really need to get focused. And just like many online entrepreneurs of all kinds, you know, your family, your friends are like, I don't even understand what you do. And I get that question, even though what I do is simplistic to me. You're not saying plumber or doctor. So like, yeah, I get it, you know. So when we were redoing our YouTube channel, I'm like, I just want people to get it. I don't care about clever or cool or anything. So we called it Video for Entrepreneurs. Like, if you don't understand what we do now, it's not my fault anymore. And I wouldn't change a thing. We leveraged that. People understood. It was easy for people to recommend our website because if someone showed up there, you know, it wasn't like Star Space Capsule Marketing or whatever. And they're like, what are these people about? It was Video for Entrepreneurs. Like, you're either in the right spot or not. And during that time, 2 things happened. One, we started serving a lot more than just entrepreneurs. So the word started to kind of go against us because people were like, oh, no, we got a sales team. We're not entrepreneurs. I'm like, well, wait, no, we help you too, you know. So there was that component, but there was also that we built a product called Hot Sauce Editing, which is our post-production subscription. And it started to build a life of its own. And then it got Beyond My Face, which I've always wanted. And then people started talking about it with each other without knowing who I was. Wow. And the brand started to finally like permeate. And I'm like, okay. So about 19 months ago on the back burner, my team didn't know, no one knew. I started cooking a little bit. I've always done my own design. I do web. I do all this. I do everything except like hard coding. So I was just kind of cooking on the back burner, you know, and Hot Sauce Editing continued to grow. And I was having so much fun with this almost brand. Like the product almost became its own brand, or did, I guess. And about 8 months ago, I told the team, I'm like, I've been working on this. I haven't told anyone. Like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but what do you think? Fast forward, we collectively made the decision that it was time and it made sense. And so, pun intended, I spread the hot sauce across the whole brand. And it really works because now it's easy to understand, you know, the name. So Hot Sauce Studio, Hot Sauce Strategy, Hot Sauce Editing, all of it comes from us. But also the reason the editing was called that was because before we had an editing product, I would help people build their studios. And I would be like, make a short video. It doesn't have to be anything you put out to public, but I want to throw a little hot sauce on it and give it back so you can see what's possible now that you look and sound good.
Nice.
And then when it came time to name the editing, I'm like, well, I already call it this, so why not? And then it resonated. And now the whole brand is Hot Sauce Video. So You're going to see red everywhere now.
Well, and just the name evokes, it makes me think, oh, you know what you're doing. You're going to make my videos, it's going to be perfection. So, and it's going to be spicy and it's going to be fun and engaging, not just the static.
Yeah, and we would, not to get too deep with it, but I do think about these things a lot. Like, I also think, I don't want to insult your chicken. I'm not saying your chicken's bad, but if you like hot sauce, you throw some on there, it might be better.
Yeah.
So we really have this vision of, we're not writing your scripts for you. We're not taking over what you're doing. We're not telling you what to do. We're not editing in a way that makes it so different from who you are. You're like, what is this? We're actually the opposite. We're trying to take how awesome you already are, just give it enough to look and sound really good. And it also led us to change our slogan to helping remarkable people look and sound good on camera instead of entrepreneurs, because we're finding all these people. What's the common thread they all have in common now that they're in different industries? It's they're remarkable, and these people are doing incredible things. And all we have to do is like help them point a camera at it. We don't have to change who they are. We don't have to try and help them go viral. We just have to capture it and get it in front of people that didn't know who they were yesterday.
Yeah.
You're a professional web creator who needs a platform that works as hard as you do. Wix Studio is built for you, whether you're a designer, developer, or marketer ready to amplify your impact. Build intuitively with advanced design features and AI-powered tools. Manage your clients and projects efficiently from one workspace. Scale with dynamic systems and fully managed infrastructure. Create exceptional websites with hyper efficiency on Wix Studio.
Well, let's talk about something that people say is a replacement for a lot of things. And it is a replacement for some things that we do. And I love AI, but I also think we have to have humans, and there's a lot of things that humans need to be at the center of and do. So let me just say AI. Thoughts?
Here we go. Yeah. My first thought is, one of the only things I have against AI is that it exists. So I get asked about it like every week from people like, what are you doing with AI? What do you know? And I'm like,
I almost didn't go there because of that.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. I don't actually hate it. I love it because my answer is, you're not going to like our answer, but here we go if you really want to know. And essentially what that comes down to is, I'm not anti-AI. We use it in our business. We don't use it for video function, but we use it quite extensively. Essentially, I look at, my $20 a month that goes to ChatGPT as a really, really inexpensive intern that knows my business pretty well at this point and will do a lot of things I don't want to do. So that's, super bonus. I understand that it's getting better at some things than others. And so those industries can feel threatened for sure. And this isn't a push against AI. It's just my nature. Going back to that whole anti-preneur thing, it was all born from me just wanting to push against the status quo. It's just kind of my nature. The first real strong feelings I had about it was, well, it's a good thing that we help people be humans better on camera, because that is more important than ever.
Yes.
So a lot of my focus goes there.
Yeah.
It goes to, I see Bigfoot running through the woods saying funny things, doing a vlog. Love it. I see 16 other people do it too. Ooh, that's a bummer for whoever created it. Guess what they can't do? They can't make Dan run through the woods unless Dan went and ran through the woods. Not saying there's not deep fakes and stuff, but like, you do have a little bit more power when you're creating the content, because it's real hard to, like duplicate a non-famous human than it is to make another Yeti or another Bigfoot. So I'm always focused on, how do we be human so well that the distinguishing isn't, I can tell that's AI anymore. It's, oh, this is definitely a human. That's where I want people focusing. Not saying there's not a place for AI in entertainment and all the things, but it just makes me want to help individuals even more capture their authenticity and their humanness and get it out into the world. Yeah.
And that's my argument as well. I love my tool set. I love my agentic AI, but I also think that's a great opportunity that I see, and what I get excited about is the fact that it allows us to be more human, to find that human centeredness, and to figure out how we still have to have authentic communication, right? There's going to be, there are bands coming out that are all AI. There's AI influencers, models, all these different things, but and sure, there's a place for that, and maybe it's just novelty, maybe it'll become a thing, but that just makes me go, okay, how do I surround myself with more humans and have those connections?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. And I just had a birthday a couple days ago, and I'm 45, so it could be the Gen Xer in me. But like, that's what I want. I feel like that will matter to people of all ages, of course, to have a genuine connection. And I think, COVID is not that far in the rear view for a lot of people of all ages to remember how isolating that was and how much the first time you did go hug a human after it was at least semi-okay to do so, how good that hug felt. And when you hadn't seen a family member in another state for a while because you were locked down and all those things, I think it was a deep reminder of like, oh, okay, yeah, I think humans matter. And we got a big old reminder of that. So I hope that people stay hungry for that sort of thing and are entertained, by AI and the tools that come. And I feel like it's kind of like a lot of things, good and bad. It's a giant spotlight.
Yeah.
And so the light comes on and you realize what's good, what's bad, the roaches scatter, the flowers bloom, and you kind of get a sense of what's going on in the industry around you because of such a substantial shift like AI. So I'm hopeful. I like playing with it. It does a good job for us. And I'm always around it. So at least I know enough that I can kind of advise our clients, but not so much that I'm like creating AI video and trying to make 1,000 videos a week for someone on some faceless YouTube channel. That stuff kind of turns me off a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and then that takes me to editing. My partner is also a film person and an editor. And a lot of the jobs, of course, have moved overseas. Ireland has taken a lot of editing work. And you were very specific that you have North American editors. So talk a little bit about why that's important value to you and what you think that brings to the table.
Yeah, I grew up in Flint, Michigan. They suffered the loss long ago of General Motors being the biggest employer in the area. And that city's really never recovered fully from that. And I lived through that. My parents were not GM people. I was raised by a single mom and she was a nurse, so I had a very different experience than a lot of my fellow classmates who had at least one, sometimes two parents in General Motors. It offered a middle-class lifestyle as soon as you walked out of high school. And so that shift to that, not existing really showed me relying on that isn't always the best thing you could be doing, So I draw a lot from my past as far as that is concerned. And so that whole system, for the most part, was kind of supported by unions and fair wages and those sorts of things. I have no political stance on those things, and I'm not saying they're good or bad, but I did watch families do well in a place, that otherwise wouldn't have. And so that kind of comes into play when I think about the quality of the work and things as simple as time zones and the quality that we then turn back over to our clients. I'm not anti-overseas help. I don't know enough to have a platform type position on it, but we do utilize some services like our website build. Someone sought me out. I paid a singular price. I got a great product. So I do use some of those services sometimes. But when it comes to this, I thought not only about the quality, and that I will say on the record, the quality you get from a lot of overseas agencies, they can't touch us. They just can't. And I think a big portion of that is because anyone who came up watching film and television and commercials and stuff here in the States, or at least, Canada, Mexico, States, they understand business speak on this side of the world. And that's not something you can just understand somewhere else. So that comes into play as well. But I also wanted to build a company that could pay people industry rates. So I pay all of my editors industry rates, the same thing they'd make at a production company on the West Coast, which is tough to keep up with sometimes, but we do it. And just like any good business who's looking at, overhead and profit margins, we look every single week. What can we do to be faster, better, and give ourselves space and increase that margin without cutting corners? And I would rather start with paying my people well and finding more profit margin than to start big profit margin, try and scale, and then have a mediocre product that's holding up that growth. So that's kind of been my old school Midwest thinking, the whole time. And oddly enough, and funny enough, some of my editors who are Canadian aren't from Canada. They went to film school in India and moved to Canada for college and then graduated there and live there now. And so I still employ immigrants, which is awesome, but they understand the time zones and Western culture to a degree because they've been schooled here and those sorts of things. So there's enough of that kind of, I hate to say it, indoctrination, I guess, of, understanding how a business might want to make a video or how YouTube works over here for them to be familiar. So I still get to give a little bit of the, money towards creative folks who come from other places in the world. But we're very intentional about, hiring North American editors. And there's a ton, I don't want to, overlook that. There's a ton of young, hungry, affordable editors as well. We have junior editors that are fresh out of film school and stuff, and they figure out it's hard to freelance. It's hard to hunt all the time. So we invite them to come farm with us instead of hunting as a freelancer. Do a good job, earn your keep. You can come here and you can harvest what we've built instead of always having to go hunt. Obviously, we as the leaders of Hot Sauce Video have to go hunt. But as an editor, you can just come and draw from the well because we've built this. And we also pay on time, which is like this industry thing no one does. So like that is helpful for us, even though I think that's the basic, bottom thing you should be able to do, baseline thing. But we pay twice a month on time, and the editors love that, So obviously they've been out there freelancing and getting their butts kicked a little bit. And then they come somewhere that's, we really focus on giving them autonomy, creative freedom, but enough framework so they feel safe and they know that they're in good hands. And try and leverage that creativity in a formula that works, and then squeeze those margins. So kind of went all over the place there, but I think about it a lot, and we're really proud of the fact that we can, kind of create that environment. So when someone hires us, they know exactly what they're getting.
Yeah, fantastic. As a Gen X Midwesterner by birth, Kansas, so maybe a little Central Plains as well, I approve and I co-sign everything that you're saying. Dan, we're going to have some links to some tools and resources in the show notes. So do you want to talk a little bit about what those are?
Yeah. So we talked about AI a little bit earlier, and the vibe might feel slightly skewed towards, I don't love it, but we're embracing it. So one of the things we did is we created a custom GPT. And it's so funny because it's a tool we've had for free forever. No one uses it. And then we wrapped it in a custom GPT, and now we've had about 800 people use it. And it's like, of course. Now, part of that is because AI is newer. People are having fun. It's a free GPT, so anyone can go use it if they have an account. But what it does is it takes 21 of our favorite storytelling frameworks and asks you what you're wanting to talk about today, and then looks at the frameworks and gives 2 or 3 that might be a good fit for that sort of subject matter. And then you can either view the frameworks full out and make your own choice, or it can ask you questions about what you want to post, run it through the preferred framework, and then actually give you a little mini script at the end. You don't have to copy and paste it, but it's a great way to go from a blinking cursor, blank page to that's not too bad. And then you can form and manipulate it and polish it afterwards. And it's called the Story Coach. Wow. So just a free custom GPT that anyone with a link can go to and say, hey, I'm Dan and I help with video. And today I want to talk about camera presence and how cameras can be scary. And it'll just work with you until you end up using one of those storytelling frameworks. And that's all built on just 16 years of understanding the story is at the crux of everything we do. It's the most important part about what we do. Even though we don't have storytelling products and courses, we trick everyone we work with into telling a better story. And at the end of the day, because a lot of people are professionals, they have skill sets, they have all this experience in careers or running companies, we just take frameworks and encourage people to cram real life into them. You don't have to make up fiction.
Exactly.
But if you use this framework, other humans will understand you a little bit better. So why don't we take your experience and cram that story into this framework? And so the GPT is a fun way to do that, the Story Coach.
Nice.
And then I always tell people I bought a URL years ago when I had a show just to make it easy for people. And it's danhaslinks.com. So if you can remember the Dan has links, there's a bunch of buttons there that go to every platform we're on. And if you can remember Hot Sauce Video, that's our handle on every platform too. So yeah. Free strategy calls for everyone too.
You're just a plethora of goodness. Yeah. So let's end with one of my favorite questions. What is your, and I know you probably have many, so choose a favorite quote, mantra, verse, poem, motto, words that continue to inspire you on your path.
I'll do a clean one and a dirty one in case the dirty one doesn't fly. The clean one is not really a quote to attribute to anyone, but I've been asked on many podcasts and stuff, if there's 1 million people listening right now, what would you say to them? And it's always the same thing. And it's give yourself grace. And then I could talk for an hour about what that means, but please give yourself grace. What we do is hard enough. Solving problems is hard enough. Turning your problem solving into money is hard enough. Video's hard. Anything worth doing, we know is hard. So give yourself some grace. There's enough wolves out there that'll, pick at your videos, and there's enough trolls that'll bang on their keyboards. So we don't need to be our own wolf or troll, so give yourself grace. Then the edited version, do no harm, take no shit. I run my whole company that way, and I have the best intentions. We run our company like I run my life, which is keep your word, do the best job you can, and apologize when you're wrong, but also hold boundaries. Don't let anyone push you around. It's your business. It's your life. Do it your way. and push really hard for good fits.
Yeah, fantastic. I really enjoyed our time together. I have a sneaking suspicion this is going to be a required watched episode for my podcast course at USC, or I might need to bring you in as a guest speaker virtually. So thank you for giving us so much of your time, your energy, and talking to us about it. I think what I'm really getting is the importance of being authentic. And it's easy to come on a podcast and talk about your business. And I really appreciate the fact that you're bringing all of your authenticity, all of the things that you've learned, the good and the bad, to us today, because this is really this is the gold, right? This is the magic right here. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. This is like recess during a very busy day. So I had fun and it just felt like playing. So
Awesome.
I appreciate it.
And thank you to everybody who's watching this episode or listening to it on your favorite platform. Thank you so much. Give us a follow, a listen, a like, a comment, reach out to our guests. It means a lot. And I'll be back again with another amazing guest very soon to share their story. Thanks for listening or watching to this episode of Your Brand Amplified. Don't forget to leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast listening platform. And if you want to learn more, check us out at yourbandamplified.com.
These days, clients want it all. A slick-looking site that can run their business and scale with their success. The good news? That's exactly what Wix Studio is built for. Plan out your client's whole site in seconds with AI-powered site mapping and wireframing. Then, when everyone's on the same page, jump into the creative, starting off in Figma and exporting it in a click, or in the Wix Studio editor with precise layouting tools like Grid, Stack, and Flexbox. Go above and beyond the brief with no-code animations, custom CSS, and built-in business solutions, and make your whole vision responsive in a click. And there's zero need to break a sweat when clients grow fast. A dynamic CMS with global design settings and reusable assets lets you turn one page into hundreds. Design smoother and deliver sooner. Go to wixstudio.com.